What's up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Aeron and I'm back to discuss WWE NXT on the YouTube channel. Mwah. Great show. Absolutely fantastic. Not much to nitpick, so if you're looking for a large amount of swearing and negativity, this may not be the podcast for you. Now, they're building towards NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, and of course, Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. I love their promos because they're simple and they're effective. There's no flim-flam. There's no over-the-top stupidity that you find on some of the other brands. It is just simple and effective. I am going to kick your fucking head in and take that NXT Championship at TakeOver. Nice little back and forth. Scarlett Bordeaux's out there. She is looking hotter than a one-way trip to hell, and she is using her mic skills very affluently in this rivalry. I like the fact that she doesn't talk all the time, and when she does, it feels meaningful. She doesn't just speak for the sake of it, like we do here. She alludes to the fact that everything happens for a reason and you can't interfere with fate. They're then interrupted by the tag team champions. Lads, if you're British and you don't like Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, there's something wrong with you. And if you're British and you don't like Wade Barrett on commentary putting over him, then there's something even more wrong with you. They come out, they start giving it the large, and he's proper talking like an East End boy, which is what he is, obviously. He's like, you boys need a slap. It's just really funny. It's like Del Boy had interrupted the best two wrestlers in the world. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Really enjoyed it. Scarlett Bordeaux, of course, manipulates them into putting their tag team titles on the line later in the show. And I like the fact that Scarlett Bordeaux had alluded to it, and she said, I see two champions draped in gold. And that made you think, oh, hello, are we going to get new tag team champions? Now this show built to NXT TakeOver beautifully. We had a continuation of the Ways rivalry with Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory had a great match. It's very weird because people don't like Austin Theory for the allegations, and it's hard for me to sit here and say otherwise, but he is fantastic. He's a world-class athlete, and he's so good in the ring, and that's just so disappointing because then it makes you think, so I try and cover it from a wrestling fan's perspective and not from a personal perspective or investment, and you can't deny that he is fantastic in the ring. You really cannot. His match with Dexter Lumis was great, helped build the storyline further. I like the fact that the Way weren't actually there, or at least the Garganos weren't there. They had to speak to him on Skype right before he left. Quite sweet that he was wearing Gargano-themed Way gear as well. I'm really digging the Way. I think they are very much the best entertainment portion of NXT, and I feel like they genuinely are very good at what they do. Now then, the continuation of the world's most heartbreaking breakup as, oh man, the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, he comes down and he says, where's Kyle O'Reilly? He cost me the title last week. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking fill his head in. And then Kyle O'Reilly appears on the screen and does this beautiful passive-aggressive promo. At the start, I thought, why is he so calm? Why is he so like, oh yeah, whatever? And I just thought, come on, mate, show us a bit more about it. And then all of a sudden, he's like, because you tried to end my career. I was like, whoa, okay. Very, very good stuff. Obviously, we're building towards a monstrous clash. If you haven't over 2 nights, this has the main event, one of them, because it is absolutely fantastic. Now, the stuff that happened after that promo was a little bit iffy for me. So the idea is Kyle O'Reilly is looking for Adam Cole, and he's not going to stop until he finds him and basically kills him. And vice versa. Adam Cole's like, do you know what? Not if I find you first, you little bitch. And then we see the two in an altercation. They've both been arrested by the police. The insinuation is that Kyle O'Reilly tried to run Adam Cole off the road. They get into it and then they get arrested. I do love the fact that William Regal was somehow able to get to this situation before. Now, if AEW had done this, I would have shit on it. So I'm going to shit on this. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I love this rivalry. I think it's amazing. There was nothing wrong with the segment itself and the way it was delivered, but it was just so stupidly nonsensical in how it was delivered. Why would William Regal be there? That makes absolutely no sense. Now, do I think wrestling should be uber realistic? No. But within its own realms, I would like it to be realistic and logical and have continuation and continuity. And this is not that. You know, the guys are drawing at each other, they're swearing at each other. That's fine. The officers have kind of arrested them. The setup was fine. It didn't feel too unrealistic. I would have liked it to have been a little bit more aggressive, like, you know, generally having to be fucking held back instead of just kind of drawing at each other through windows. Very reminiscent, actually, of the build-up to the all-women's main event of WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch when they all got arrested, but that was actually more violently delivered. But yeah, William Regal kind of walking around and then asking the officers what's going on doesn't make sense to me. Are we insinuating that it's in the car park or it's just outside the arena? Bit dumb for me. Bit dumb. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong. I love WWE NXT. It's my favourite 2 hours. But it is not immune to my wrath. If I think something's dumb, I'll tell you it's dumb, because we're honest here. The women's wrestling was fantastic, obviously, and I'm looking forward to covering the women's wrestling on AEW Dynamite because they made a hell of a statement last night. But I thought that Zoe Stark is being built beautifully as this plucky underdog contender. Every time she goes out there and has a match, even though she loses, she just looks so legitimate. People are likening her to a more violent Shakira, which I think is quite cool. Hopefully they'll have a little play on that at some point. But she was great, and obviously putting her in the ring with someone like Dakota Kai is only going to help improve her knowing, because Dakota Kai is such an amazing hand in the ring. Obviously Raquel Gonzalez is at ringside as well, and after the match Io Shirai comes down, completely blanks poor old Dakota Kai, walks past her, slaps the clipboard into Raquel Gonzalez's chest and says, "Sign it. I want to face you for the title at NXT TakeOver." And of course, Raquel Gonzalez is very happy about that. And I like the little nuances, because backstage, of course, Dakota Kai says, "That's fantastic. I'm happy for you. But next week, we've got a tag team match. And I want to remind people that we are still the women who run this division." You can see they're very slowly sowing the seeds of dissent. You know, the fact that Raquel Gonzalez is going to move on, possibly going to win the women's title. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because I feel like now's the right time to pull the trigger on her when she's red hot. But you can see what they're doing. And slowly but surely they are devolving this tag team. And obviously Dakota Kai is probably going to find herself on, you know, the bitter end of business here. And it wouldn't surprise me, actually, if she's the next contender for Raquel Gonzalez when she does win the title. Because ultimately she'll be like, "Hey, I made you, and now I can take everything away from you." And it'll be a great way to get Raquel Gonzalez over as an NXT champion a little bit more. And then possibly move Dakota Kai up. The main roster could do with a little bit of freshening up, really. I like the main roster's women. I feel like it could do with some new talent on it. Rhea Ripley's obviously going up soon. And also I feel like Dakota Kai is a very fresh and unique face. I don't think there's anyone like Dakota Kai on the main roster, so it'd be nice to see her plying her trade on a Raw or SmackDown. Now, we got the debut of LA Knight. Dummy, yeah. If he starts saying dummy, I'm going to lose my shit. He's still in amazing condition. He's backstage. He's getting ready for his match. He cuts a promo. And then if you blinked and missed it, you may not have seen that Bronson Reed very slowly walked past him in the background during his promo and into his locker room. And that, of course, would play in nicely to his debut. Now, as far as I can tell, he took on Peter Avalon in his debut, but this was a much, much better, a much more jacked version of Peter Avalon. Just saying, really. A good enough match, great debut. It's funny, because LA Knight said, you know, "I'm going to come out here, I'm not going to do anything flash." And actually, all of his moveset was very flash, very powerful, very awesome, but also very meaningful. For me, LA Knight is genuinely one of the best in the world. His promos are world-class. People say, "Oh, he's an imitation of The Rock." That's not a bad thing if you're doing it well, and he does it very well. But I feel like he's got his own identity. He's just taken a lot of what works. And ultimately, why would you not want to borrow from probably the greatest mic worker of the modern era? Just makes sense, doesn't it, really? LA Knight goes out there, has a great match. Now, Bronson Reed comes down and interferes, so to speak. He's up on the top of the ramp. He's got LA Knight's signature jacket. Everyone will remember Eli Drake wearing those gorgeous leather jackets. And then he puts it on and rips it. And, of course, LA Knight is beside himself, but he still manages to overcome the odds of beating jacked up Peter Avalon and gets a win on his debut. Thank Christ. I was worried they were going to job him out for a moment. Now, I am going to take this to task as well. I do not like props that much in wrestling. Not a big fan of props. Anyone who remembers John Moxley's podcast with Talk Is Jericho, where he talks about Vince McMahon and how he loves to make things into props, and this kind of smacked of it a little bit. I know Vince isn't involved, but I just feel like Bronson Reed can do so much better than this. Why is he up on the top of the ramp tearing a leather jacket? Like, that just makes you look a bit stupid and also a bit of a bully in my book. And I know that's not what they're trying to go for, but and Bronson Reed is such an awesome human being and a world-class wrestler. He feels to me like the evolution of Bam Bam Bigelow in so many ways, but I just thought this was a bit tacky and a bit meh. And also, you got to believe that Bronson Reed's going to come out on the losing end of this rivalry to LA Knight, because you've just signed a guy and he's red hot, so why wouldn't you want to push him to the moon as soon as possible? So I don't feel like this rivalry benefits Bronson Reed whatsoever. And him standing up there on the top of the ramp, ripping a leather jacket, was just a bit of a dumb visual for me. There are much better ways of getting him across as a Leviathan, as a monster. Could you not have done this after the match even? If he'd just come down afterwards, grabbed his jacket and tore it in half and just said, I want you fucking next. That would have been perfect. That would have been so much easier, but classic WWE, sometimes they've just got to go a little bit too stupid and over the top. And NXT isn't renowned for that like Raw and SmackDown is. So, it just didn't slap with me that well, if I'm being honest. Now, there were two big surprises on this show. One that we knew about and one we didn't know about. And, of course, the first one was Jordan Devlin coming back. Now, Breezango had an amazing match with Legado del Fantasma. I feel like both of these teams are really underappreciated. Now, of course, Santos Escobar was at ringside for this fantastic affair. Just wanted to give a shout out to Breezango. They're still awesome. They're still gorgeous. They're still so good at what they do. I really would love to see them utilised just that little bit more. It feels like they've gone down to NXT to help get the other guys over. That's fine, but I just feel like there's a lot more left in the tank, and I find them so wickedly charismatic and fun to watch. I really do. I love Legado del Fantasma though. Awesome to see them getting a big win. Feels like they're being built as legitimate contenders for tag titles maybe later down the line. They, for me, would be fantastic first opponents for MSK once they're finished with their little rivalry with the grizzled young veterans, because they're so freaking good at what they do. And of course, after the match concludes, Jordan Devlin comes down, gets in Santos Escobar's face, and we have the Battle of the Cruiserweight Champions that is soon to take place at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. It is really building up to be truly one of the all-time great takeovers and pay-per-views, because every single match looks like it's going to be world class. And whether you like Devlin or not, whether you believe in the allegations or not, there's no denying how incredible he is as an in-ring talent. And he's facing Santos Escobar. And of course, this is going to be world class. And these are two of the best wrestlers WWE has. And no question, Vic Joseph said on commentary, these are the two best in the world at 205 and underneath. And I truly believe that. I think this is going to be an incredible matchup. Devlin gets the jump on him with a headbutt and a Saito suplex. See you boys at TakeOver. Tommaso Ciampa implies that he's taken out Alexander Wolf, and he's looking to divide and conquer as he goes one-on-one with Marcel Bartel. And of course, he deals with Fabian Eichner at the beginning of the match. The idea very simply being that Tommaso Ciampa is looking to take out every member of Imperium. Maybe he's looking to draw out something else. And draw out something else he does. Because after a fantastic match and him actually dispatching Marcel Bartel, we have the return of Ring General. Walter is in the house. NXT has gone from being an excellent show to being a true powerhouse. Because when you have Walter in the house, that means you are going to have some of the best wrestling in the world. You already do. He just ups the ante so much more. He truly is, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the world. I feel like Pac and Walter are right here in terms of what they can do as wrestlers. Very different wrestlers in every sense, and they're my two favourite wrestlers in the world. I love Walter. I think he's incredible. I think everything he does is so real. And of course, Tommaso Ciampa knows what he's done because he's lured him out and he had hinted in promos before. This is excellent storytelling without being too convoluted. Once again, somebody needs to get hold of Raw and show them how it's fucking done on a Wednesday night. It's ridiculous how bad that show is in comparison. Walter takes down Tommaso Ciampa, and it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with this going forward. Are they going to have a match at TakeOver? If they are, is Timothy Thatcher going to move on? Is Timothy Thatcher going to eventually rejoin with Imperium? We'll find out. And of course, the main event of this show was pretty awesome in its own right. Karrion Kross and Finn Balor taking on the tag team champions Lorcan and Burch. Let's be honest, you knew Lorcan and Burch were going to be in trouble now. From what I can tell, Danny Burch picked up an injury in this match. Don't know whether it was legitimate or not. Seemed to be legitimate because only Lorcan pretty much worked the rest of the match by himself. If that's the case, very unfortunate. Really hope Danny Burch is going to get better soon, because I feel like Danny Burch has waited a long time to get his opportunity to be recognised as one of the biggest stars in wrestling, at least on this brand, and it would be really unfortunate if this injury completely derailed that. But credit to Oney Lorcan, he obviously took on the reins of this match. He took one hell of a shit kicking from Karrion Kross throughout this match. Balor shotgun drop kicks Oney Lorcan straight into Scarlet Bordeaux. This enrages Karrion Kross, which is never a good thing, to be honest, because he's fucking terrifying as it is. He decimates Finn Balor, and Oney Lorcan picks up what has to be considered one of the bigger upset wins I've seen in NXT of recent memory, as he pins the world champion Finn Balor in the middle of the ring. So maybe Oney Lorcan can get a title match at some point, but it's great continuation. And of course, Scarlett, you know, after Karrion Kross is finished decimating Finn Balor, Scarlett just kind of lays over his prone corpse and says, just remember, everything happens for a reason. You can't escape fate. And the show goes off the air beautifully. Great stuff. Perfect NXT. Thought it was fantastic. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've been Aeron X. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.